Genetic defects used to be one of the most misunderstood phenomena throughout history. Most of the time, religious explanations would be used in order to make sense of a seemingly impossible situation. Sadly though, oftentimes babies showing abnormalities wouldn't survive childhood or would even be disowned by their own parents. The circus is usually where these social outcasts would normally be attracted to and would find a place of acceptance. Today, thanks to modern medicine and research, these conditions are better understood and the root of the problem can actually be identified. In this video, we will be visiting some of the most famous quote-unquote freaks who had such abnormal conditions they gained worldwide infamy. First, we'll start with Stefan Bobrowski, the lion-faced man. Born in Warsaw, Poland in 1890, he was afflicted with a rare condition now believed to be hypertrichosis. Those with hypertrichosis, or the werewolf disease, suffer from hair growth on areas of the body that wouldn't normally be covered in hair. In extreme cases, as in Stefan's, the hair can grow to extreme lengths. Other examples of these extreme cases include the well-known sideshow performers like the Bearded Ladies or Jojo the Dog-Faced Boy. Interestingly enough, Stefan's mother at the time believed that her son's condition was the result of her witnessing her father being mauled by a lion while she was pregnant. Even the medical community of the day seemed to agree with her, claiming a now debunked side effect of maternal impression, caused by shock when a mother is pregnant. Rather than raise a baby with such an abnormal appearance, Stefan's mother is said to have given him up at the age of 4 to a local financier and entrepreneur named Sedlmayr. Sedlmayr instantly saw the potential in the young boy's condition and dubbed him Lionel the Lion-Faced Boy, and quickly began parading him around Europe for cash. In 1901, Sedlmayr traveled to the United States with Stefan and began exhibiting him in sideshows along the newly opened piers and boardwalks on the East Coast. While there, Stefan was noticed by talent scouts of the Barnum and Bailey Circus. After he joined them, he went on to perform and traveled the world with the rest of their sideshow freaks. Although he was famous for his appearance, the lion-faced man was actually a quite intelligent man. His dream was to be a dentist and was a certified polyglot speaking over 5 languages. By the late 1920s, Lionel retired from his sideshow career and moved back to Germany. He reportedly died in Berlin from a heart attack in 1932 at 41 years old. Next up are Chang and Ang Bunker, the famous Siamese Twins. The so-called discovery of the conjoined brothers is credited to the Scottish merchant Robert Hunter. At the time, Hunter was a trusted trade associate of the Siamese government and traveled across the country with considerable freedom. In 1824, Hunter reportedly first met the twins while he was on a fishing boat on the Mehem River and the twins were swimming at dusk. He mistook them for a strange animal he had never seen before. But upon getting closer and meeting the boys, he immediately saw their uniqueness as an economic opportunity in bringing them to the West. On April 1, 1829, the twins started their travels aboard the trading vessel with a 138-day journey to Boston, Massachusetts. Upon their arrival in Boston, Chang and Ang were exhibited to the public for a fee. Inside the exhibit, the brothers performed demonstrations and showed the audience how they were physically connected. According to one of the descendants of Robert Hunter, the exhibition was successful and received significant attention. The twins started to do somersaults, backflips, and added acrobatic performances to make their shows more entertaining. The twins also included badminton, chess, and checkers in their performances. After about 2 years of this, they decided to end their partnership and set off on their own. During that period, they contacted and worked with a showman and circus manager Phineas Barnum in the US. They traveled to Cuba in 1835, then to Paris, Belgium, and the Netherlands. In the 1830s, the twins returned to New York City and became naturalized citizens of the United States. In 1839, they purchased a farm in North Carolina, alongside 30 slaves to help them operate the farm, a common practice at the time. Soon after establishing their farm, Chang and Ang met the Yates family, who were also farmers, and they began courting the two Yates sisters. On the 13th of April, 1843, Chang married Adelaide Yates and Ang married Sarah Yates. At first, the Bunkers and their wives lived in the same house and shared a reinforced bed built for 4 people, but after 3 years, they decided to build 2 separate houses. The wives each had their own house, while Chang and Ang alternated between the 2 houses every 3 days. Curiously and somewhat shockingly, Chang Bunker and his wife had 10 children, while Ang and his wife had 12 total. A few years down the road, on January 17, 1874, Chang passed away, and after his son confirmed his death, Ang replied, "Then I'm going too." Over the next hour, he suffered intense pains and distress, a cold sweat covering his body. The only notice he took of his dead twin was to move his body nearer to him. 2.5 hours after losing his brother, Ang Bunker died as well. The third person I have for you today is Schlitzie, one of the most famous pinhead sideshow performers in history. Schlitzie was born with a condition known as microcephaly, a developmental disorder which causes the skull and brain to be undersized. Microcephalics are typically of short stature. As such, Schlitzie was only 4 feet tall. Schlitzie's condition also left him severely mentally disabled, which made him unable to take care of himself and only capable of speaking short words or phrases. However, he was able to perform simple tasks, and it is believed that he could understand most of what was said to him, as he had a very quick reaction time and the ability to mimic others. Those who knew Schlitzie described him as an affectionate, exuberant, sociable person who loved to dance, sing, and being the center of the attention. He loved performing and talking to anyone who would take the time to spend with him. His true birth date, name, location, and parents are unknown, and will most likely never be known, the information having been lost and was handed off to various carnivals in a long line of mostly informal guardianships throughout his career. Throughout the 1920s and 1930s, he was employed by many upscale circuses, including Ringling Bros, Barnum and Bailey Circus, Clyde Beatty Circus, Tom Mix Circus, and also Folly and Burke Carnival. But Schlitzie is best known for his acting role in Todd Browning's 1932 horror film, Freaks. The film was so controversial that it was banned in the United Kingdom for 30 years. Through this debacle, Schlitzie gained notoriety, and he was heavily sought after for more sideshow performances and movies. Later in life, after his main caretaker passed away, and with nobody willing to take care of him, he was admitted to the Los Angeles County Hospital. There he seemed to miss the carnival, and seemed to be depressed being hidden away. The hospital therefore released him back to a circus who would act as a ward for him. He continued to perform for a few more years and became a notable attraction in the streets of Hollywood. He enjoyed walking down the Santa Monica Boulevard and feeding birds while performing acts for passerbys. He died on September 24, 1971. Similar to the Siamese twins, Josephine Myrtle also gained notoriety for her conjoined state. She suffered from dipygus, a deformity that is severe and an extreme form of caudal duplication, where the body's axis completely duplicates at the caudal end. Josephine Myrtle's birth in 1868 took the world by surprise because she was born with 4 legs and 2 functional genitals. Her life as an attraction began early when her father took advantage of curious neighbors and would charge them to take a look at his 4-legged daughter. She quickly became the talk of the town, and by 13, the circus came calling. By the time she was 18, she was able to bring in up to $450 per week for her performances, roughly about $13,000 in today's money. With this quick-earned money, she was able to retire and settle down to have a family. She got married to a doctor whose name was James Clinton Bicknell. The couple had 5 children altogether, 4 girls and 1 boy. It was alleged that 3 of her children were born from one set of her reproductive organs, and the other 2 were born on the other side. She lived a relatively quiet life until the age of 59 when a skin infection took her life. After her death, physicians and showmen were willing to pay a lot of money for her body, but the parents rejected their offers. The family members of Josephine Myrtle stood watch over her grave for a number of days until the concrete was dried enough to avoid their daughter's corpse from being stolen by grave thieves. Lastly, we have Bill Dirks, the three-eyed man. He was born on April 17, 1913 in a small town in Missouri. But immediately after delivery, his parents were taken aback by his facial features. Bill was born with frontonasal dysplasia. Frontonasal dysplasia is a cleft of the entire face, and therefore Bill appeared to have 2 faces. His nose was split into 2 halves, and there was a deep indentation between his eyes. At birth, Bill's eyes were sealed shut, and he underwent an operation to open them. The Dirks were embarrassed by their son's appearance, and he wasn't allowed to go to public school. The family was also poor and couldn't afford to send him to private school, so Bill spent his childhood working. Eventually, a carnival came to town. There the workers saw him and they invited him to join them. Weighing his options, he took the gamble and tried his luck on the road. Bill traveled the country as the two-faced man, but he would often paint a third eye into the divot between his actual eyes and perform as the three-eyed man. He said that people never noticed it was fake because people had trouble just looking at him. The irony of the three-eyed man was that Bill was blind in his right eye, so in reality he was really only a one-eyed man. During his travels, one woman took an interest to Bill more than ever before. Mildred, who performed as the alligator-skinned woman, suffered from a rare skin disease that caused painfully dry, scaly skin. The two quickly fell in love and married. They continued to work the sideshows together and were dubbed the world's strangest couple. The once rejected boy that nobody wanted found joy in people having to pay to see him. He and his wife worked together for years until Mildred died in 1968 and Bill in 1975. And with that, we wrap up today's video. Let me know if I missed anyone or if you would like me to do a video on a different subject. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next one.